August the 4th, and the time is 6:02 p.m. We shall call this meeting to order. If we will stand for invocation, a moment of silence, and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We may start with the roll call. Ms. Kim Hetland, Ms. Mimi Martinez, Mr. Carlos De Leosa, Colonel Cedric Carrington, Ms. Janine Corls, Ms. Fran Tate, Ms. Winters, Ms. White, Jeffrey Johnson here. We do have established quorum. Is there a motion? Oh, excuse me. At this time, we'll have public comments. I don't believe anyone is online, so this will be focused to those who are in the room. If you have public comments, you do have 3 minutes. Please state your name. And if there is something on the agenda that you are addressing, please let us know what item, or if it's general comment, please indicate that. So if anyone has a public comment, you are free to stand now.
Good evening, Honey Burger. Um, the issue of the CRA is the agenda. The time before the next administration step in will be less than 7 months. And so those who have been around for a long time, I think an evaluation of what has been accomplished for the greater good of the community has to be questioned. We talk about in our community the ongoing existence of generational wealth. We talk about the wealth gap. We talk about affordable housing. We talk about everything that we know that the majority of people that live in East Tampa do not have. Of course, there's an opportunity to make some corrections and cement things in stone. We talked about almost 4 years ago the creation of the ADUs. If these families in our community will never, ever, ever be able to buy a new building. And some of them won't be able to qualify for some of these apartments. But what could be a great possibility for families in our community is that if we would set aside dollars for a special project to show the possibility of how generational wealth could be created by putting a 40 by 20 commercial unit back in their backyard, and then letting it in out that grandmother or maybe an adult child could see value in staying on the land. I am just hoping that Amendment 3 don't pass. But if it do pass, then I think we all gonna ride the way the hill together. Because so do property tax go, and I think it's already been laid out so well, a lot of services being the CRA. But until we get to that point in November, I would say move with speed to make sure that you have done something well and you fit other than some of these projects that they might sound good for some people and they'll create a lot of work for others, but for the majority of people in East Tampa, it has not done what it needed to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to talk about the economic advancement. CRA was designed to remove the slum and the blight and to also help the people at disadvantage. But for a long time, we have seen East Tampa CRA used as a slush fund. for developers and for other people. And it's like Sister Connie said, some people, they prosper and they create generational wealth, but most of the people in East Tampa, we have not seen anything change, nothing except they built a $600,000 house down the street from me. That's the only thing. And in order for us to make sure that the CRA is doing what it was designed to do, we need to give people economic opportunities. I still haven't seen no warehouse, no manufacturing, no nothing come to East Town. And we have the transit ready corridors here. We have all this vacant industrial land. And I know the people from CDC to spring off of them, they were saying, oh, we want to do some incubation. We do not have time to wait for something to happen. We need something so that the people can have jobs right now. And I was on Google, and one of the top jobs they said in Tampa were the warehouses. And I know people want to earn $30 and $40 an hour, but something is better than nothing. And we have to start from somewhere. The people need jobs in Jackson Heights and Belmont Heights. No matter what happened, we are the last to get the jobs. And that is what the CRA was designed to do. And over the years, it's been so many proposals for the CRA. Then when the Newport people get on the board, they vote to block all the changes and the progress that we have made so far. But we need to see something tangible happen in East Town, preferably Jackson Heights and Belmont Heights. And another thing, we need to look at line items. How can we create generational wealth? When Big Mama died, our mama died, there's no will. So somebody got to pay the money to put it in probate so that the court can establish ownership. Most of the people don't know nothing about taxes and insurance. So that's what the CRA fund should be doing. Putting money aside, making a line item so that the people can get their case into probate, they can get their back taxes paid, and they can keep Big Mama house. And if the CRA do not do that, they are contributing to the gentrification of East Town.
Thank you. Thank you. There any public comments? All right. At this time, do we have the approval of minutes? A motion to approve? It has been moved by Mr. Carlos De Leosa, and it has been seconded by Colonel Carrington. All in favor by saying aye. Opposed, same sound. Minutes have been approved. There are three distinctive items on the agenda tonight. A is the discussion upon redevelopment. No action is needed. The 34th Street roundabout, that's Ms. Fran Tate and her supporting that art effort. And then action item, new meeting dates for September and October. That's in our packet. I will ask before Mr. Nunez makes his presentation that all board members have an opportunity to read their packets. All right. Okay, great. So this is not a heavy agenda tonight, so we really shouldn't be here beyond 30, 45 minutes. And this will help us expedite if everyone has their questions prepared for Mr. Nunez, and we can continue to move forward. Good evening. So the CRA board made a motion that beyond the 22nd Street pond redevelopment, we move to redevelop all 6 of the ponds that we are able to redevelop. As you all know, we've had a line item for about $2.9 million to the 22nd Street pond already allocated. So now that the board has moved to move forward with that, I propose that we create a full plan of all the ponds, not just one pond at a time or piecemeal pond plans. All we have are sketches, which I'm showing here. So this is going to be the basis of which we move forward with developing. I would like to have all the ponds look consistent, have the same theme or style to them. Since 22nd Street was originally funded, I still think we should move forward with 22nd Street first and then address the rest of them as the years go by, as we can find the funding for it. But so my proposal is to create a scope of work and a concept for all the ponds and have concept ready plans drawn up so that we can go to design build
phase by phase. Whatever's ready to be built first, whatever our funding is available, we can send it up for design build one at a time. So what I would just request from the CAC tonight is a recommendation to the board to move forward with the full 6 pond concept, so we can get concepts developed and fully fleshed out, so we can move forward with the design build as soon as we're ready. I have a map here of where the 6 ponds are located in East Tampa. Let me make it bigger. Sorry.
Say the address. I think we'll see.
Yeah, North 22nd Street in Chelsea, Williams Park Pond in North 43rd Street, Bay Street and North 34th Street, Chelsea Street and North 44th Street, East 26th Avenue and North 26th Street was originally proposed, but we all are aware of why we cannot move forward with that one. And if there are any questions about that one, there was a possibility of unmarked graves being in that site, so we don't want to. Right. And then the 5th and 6th one will be North 40th Street and 19th Avenue and East 19th Avenue between North 37th Street and Salone Drive. That's really it. Now we open up for discussion. Any questions?
Just no, Carlos Delosa for the record, there's no modifications happening to the overall surface water management system. It's just strictly
No.
beautification,
Strictly
correct?
beautification around it. Stormwater would still manage it as a stormwater pond. It will maintain its original use.
Okay.
And we're trying to make green space and just improve the spaces for the community.
Just really quickly, who is the governing entity for the stormwater pond? Is it SwiftMud? Is it Southwest Florida Water Management?
I think City of Tampa does.
Is
its
it
own
the city of
stormwater
Tampa?
management. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Thanks.
You want the
At what point are you
No
contacting
one's online.
neighbors at all? Because
That's part of this concept. It's going to be including heavy community engagement for each area.
okay, but the one on the 22nd and 26th was originally an environmental. The state had control of that. Then the city took over that pond. Now there's a lot of history in that pond. The fact that there are unmarked graves possibly, and it's been in the Tribune and the paper. It's a big mess over
26th Street, but you're saying 22nd Street?
on that.
Well, we haven't started anything yet. We're gonna.
No,
This is
but I
part of
mean-
it. Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's like the gas line. I asked about this project 3 years ago when Hope came up with it. And they had $2 million because the county took away 8 million of their money to build housing and left them with the 2 million. When they came and made a presentation to city council, because they had different members there, city council was the one that agreed to this, but it's coming out of, we need houses before we need ponds, and the pond that we already have, just informational for the entire board. That pond has never been maintained, and then we have a natural water fountain sitting there, and that pond is full of, I'll wait till it's here. But that's it.
I would suggest in this master plan that we're talking about to go to Ms. White's comment on page 3. It says potential naming, identity, public art, environmental education, community storytelling will be a part of the community engagement process. With that, whoever the contract is with is to give a review, or for your office to review what is happening with the current ponds in East Tampa, how they're being maintained, instead of not just adding additionals, ponds, what's happening with what we already have when it comes to the area beautification for the communities. So I think that will go to your point, what's happening, because it will also set a precedence of how these ponds will be maintained, who they will be maintained through if they're not currently being done. Great question you asked, who they're currently being maintained by. If they're not being properly maintained by them, then what makes you think the new ones, they would do a good job?
Right now, stormwater will only do stormwater maintenance.
Okay.
And we barely get mowing from parks. That's the commitment we have.
You say we barely?
We get mowing. That's about all we get.
You use
Mowing.
the word barely.
My slip of a word. I
Okay.
apologize for that. We get mowing and whatever minor landscaping they do. But we would, part of this also require that we develop a comprehensive master plan, post development, maintenance plan. We have to develop a maintenance plan for them as well.
And who would track the measurements on that to make sure that that maintenance plan is being followed? Because this is only a contractor that you're asking for. This won't be their responsibility. Who from staff?
Right, we'd have
will
to,
monitor
we would
that?
have to negotiate all the stormwater, parks, and if they're not willing to commit to an elevated level of service, which we have to get them to commit to that, then we have to find a different solution to maintaining these ponds. But we haven't gotten to that part yet, so we have to.
That should be done anyways.
Right, I agree.
You're gonna need that anyway.
Agreed.
You
But we
know,
have,
so
that's a city negotiation that we have to do, and
Chair recognizes Ms. Headland.
I think several years ago, USF was in here and they talked about the environmental ponds and what a unique opportunity and feature they were within East Tampa. There's not a lot of communities that have those scale and size and kind of disbursement of green space, but also these ponds. And it's a huge opportunity, I think, to make them something really special. But again, maintenance, all of that has to be.
to get worked out.
done. I know Miss White probably remembers the agreement when the Lake Avenue lights went in. There was a maintenance agreement with Tico, and the CRA ended up on the hook for that as a line item in the budget for, I think, over a decade. So all of that, I'm assuming, would be part of that master plan of this is how it would be implemented. This is who it would be, this is who would be maintaining it, who would be paying for it. All that being said, I think it's really important that what was the one that was taken out? 26 Avenue.
26, yes.
26 and 26. I think it's really important that that stay in and that master plan addresses how to celebrate and acknowledge the history, not just take it out of the plan, because we don't know what to do with it. I just think it's important that while you may not be building stuff on there, there has to be some acknowledgement.
Kind of a memorialization.
I think that would be separate outside of the pond. I think that would be a part of the memorial line item, but you're absolutely right, because it brings up a larger picture for us to be able to celebrate the history of the community, since their pond won't be there, to talk about what was there, so it won't be forgotten.
So I don't want it to just get.
Swept out.
It's really important that we don't lose the history. All of these ponds were located there because it was vacant and it was available, vacant because of the history that was there. And then the procurement process, is this going to be it going forward with the master plan? Would that procurement process be a public RFQ, or would it go to somebody that's on the city's list? And I'm asking that because I think this is a really, really unique project, and it could draw.
I'd rather do an RFQ, and I don't want to go CCNA, because sometimes you don't always have full control of the contracts within CCNA. That's my personal opinion.
Anything else, Ms. Headland? Anyone else before we, Ms. White wanted to share? Okay.
Well, I was holding the mic for a reason.
You have to hold your hand up, not the mic, because you could just be passive, so I can see it. Thank you.
Thank you. The discussions are really, really wonderful. This is Fran Tate for the record. Discussions are really, really wonderful. What I want to say is, by all means, include the community. And when I say that, we need to start implementing snipe signs, because the way we're delivering our meetings, delivering our message is not getting out. And I'm only one person in my area. Can we look at maybe purchasing snipe signs? I mean, the county does it. Commissioner Myers, her signs are all over our area. And we just keep using them over and over, or either pull out LED boards or pull out something, but make sure we include the communities where these ponds are located in the
Every
discussion.
intention to do so, yeah. It's included in there to include the communities, and there's going to be heavy engagement around all the ponds to make sure that the community has their input and their voice.
Thank you.
Any other comments before Ms. White gives her last comment, and then we'll call for a vote? Anything else?
To Ms. Heather's point,
Pass it around, Ms. Tate. Thank you.
26 and 22nd was unable to
It was 26 and 26 was a neighborhood. There were houses. There were houses there, families. Okay, sorry. There were houses there, family, and they took all that out and said that they needed to put a pond there. During the hurricane, there is no more than 2 inches of water in there. After they moved everything out, they found out it was connected to the Italian cemetery, and there's issues and things still going on with that. And it has never been maintained outside of just around the
Right.
outer portion of it. And at one time, the state had control of it, and it was considered an environmental. Then 2 or 3 months later, when it was questioned, then the city of Tampa took it over. And it's really not maintained even with the city of Tampa, as well as the one that's on Chelsea and 22nd. I know those neighbors. There's a lady that was coming to city council complaining about the algae. And there's a man that comes out, seems like it's every twice a year in a little boat that goes around and scrapes it. Even when they get ready to maintain it, the city of Tampa does not take away the dead shrubbery or clean the outside of it. So there are a lot of things that are going on in those two particular ponds that it's always been some type of issue or something that's going on. And now that they have gas on 26 and they're coming up 26, heading west, what is really going on? Because the citizens are not informed as to the plans, as to what is being developed or in East Tampa at this point, as I can see it.
Just from a historical perspective, when were houses there? Like how long ago are we talking?
At least 80,
8 years ago?
correct.
In the 80s.
No,
Oh.
no, it's been a while. It started out 80 years approximately. Oh, you can say 50 years or 40. That it was called Lucky Lane. And it was a very popular cluster of homes.
Before I read what the staff recommendation is, what I heard from public comment and what I'm hearing even from us from a strategic standpoint, I think for what we're trying to accomplish before East Tampa sunsets, we need to hire an assistant East Tampa manager. You can't regulate all of this. And what's going to happen is frustration is going to come, but there are some things that are going to get lost to the crack. And that's the only way that you can have metrics to be able to hold accountable. You have two neighborhoods that you're managing right now, and we're going to have this problem. It's going to be continual. If we're the largest CRA in the state of Florida with the projects that we're trying to do, there are too many things going on. Who's going to manage the stormwater project? Who are they going to pass that off to? They asked about the ADUs. When that happens, who's going to be able to track that to make sure that families are able to receive that? They're talking about communication. Who's able to track that to make sure that these markers are around the 7.5 mile radius of East Tampa? We're going to keep getting, that's the reason why we hear Ms. Valerie, Ms. Connie say the same thing over and over every month. These things are not being tracked. You can't do it by yourself. So I'm just putting that out there. Mark my words, it's not going to get any better. So we need more staff to kind of support this. When they consolidated everything from it not being in one office to everything else, now stuff is going to get lost. So I'm just putting that on the record. The staff motion is to recommend that the CRA board authorize staff to initiate procurement for professional consulting services to prepare the East Tampa Community Pond and Greenways Initiative master plan based upon North 22nd Street. You know the streets. It will not exceed $300,000 from the professional services category for FY27. Is there a motion for this?
Slow everybody down. What page were you reading from?
Page 5.
I'll move my motion, but have discussion.
Sure. Is there a second? Discussion.
So from a RFP expectation standpoint, I think
Mhm.
probably have a lot of what we've been talking about to do to figure out and make sure that the consultants kind of understand the magnitude of this. Protect the history. I always go back to what CRA did for the church site that I was on having community involvement. I think that is a prime example of CRA truly doing what it is responsible to do, getting community involvement. So having community involvement to understand all those dynamics, and obviously having some form of representation from this committee to select whoever that professional service is going to be to work on this, right? My perception of the situation, and what the chair was saying, it almost seems like we're set up to fail. And I've been on this committee now for a little over 2 years, and it just seems like there's always steady progress, but then we go back for steps, right? So if we're gonna do this, we should do it right. We should take into consideration everything that we're trying to do and what this community was and is and what it wants to be. So there has to be some really serious parameters to that.
Great comments. Yes.
So this is gonna add another project that we already have many in queue still.
Is this about stormwater?
It
Not the
is,
pond. Okay.
because I'm not against doing this, but the reality is things are moving really fast that are outside of our control right now with the CRA. There's talk about an interlocal agreement, and that's changing the way the CRA is being managed, and there's talk about extending our sunsetting time with the new agreement with the county. We don't know what's going to happen on the November ballot yet. We have a master plan that we want to do for our corridors. We have property yet that we have development on for the church. And I don't want to set something pie in the sky. I feel like we're authorizing and approving a lot of plans. And just the way things are right now, fragile. And we sunset in 2034. Now we're adding this to the list, and it just seems like the list just keeps growing and growing and growing. And the reality is, we didn't talk about this at the CAC. We didn't ask for this. This came from the CRA board.
That's correct.
So now we're being pressured to make a decision tonight to allocate money and have a master plan, do an RFP and do all these things. We even have a motion right now for this. This was not a priority for us. I'm not saying everything we want is a priority, but the reality is we're gonna have to slim it down. Affordable housing was the number one priority, and that's where all of our money was going towards. The second
33%.
67%.
67%, excuse me.
I just don't want us to get sidetracked, because we're siloing off to multiple master plans. We have the data building that we haven't even touched. So I think we can control us feeling less frustrated and less disappointed if we pump the brakes a little bit on keep authorizing and approving new plans.
And focus on what we already have to execute.
The community doesn't see results. We start something, and so now we talk about things falling through the cracks, but we have to take ownership of we're the ones that are authorizing that. So I honestly, we already have plans for the 22nd pond. I don't see what harm it would be for us to delay this, to have more discussions. I am going to bring up the topic in new business. This whole home rule that may be proposed with the county taking over another CRA, and now East Tampa is being thrown in there as a bargaining chip to. I don't feel comfortable with that, and we don't know what's going to happen with the ballot, with the amendment. I'm going to bring it up in new business, but I think we need to tighten up and be prepared. And I will be making some motions later on to try to. We need to slow down and prepare for what might be coming. That's just my 2 cents. I probably will not vote for this, not because I don't believe in it, but I think we're taking on way too much.
Chair recognizes as Ms. Tate and then Ms. Hedlund.
Thank you. We have always functioned in this manner. Starting with the former chair that's sitting behind me, their strategic action plan, that was not a want. That was something that was passed down, and we just had to act on it. We've always functioned in that manner. I would love to table this because we're piling up so much stuff. How much of it has actually been completed? And I support your idea, Mr. Nunez, manager. I think you need a little help. I mean, look at all this stuff that we got going. When are we going to complete anything? Housing is our number one focus. We got to stay focused. This is something new. And like we said, the CRA devised this and sent it down. I really think we need to table it.
So we have the motion
Thank you.
on the floor. We'll go through with the vote after Ms. Hetland. If it does not pass, excuse me, you had, okay, Ms. Hetland and then Colonel Carrington. Ms. Hetland,
I just want to point out that
for the sake of recording, I wish we had more than one mic.
I only have one working right now, sorry.
It's being recorded. We want to make sure that all of this stuff is captured. So when it's on record.
okay, so I just want to point out that on the infrastructure and capital projects spreadsheet, the storm water pond at 22nd Street has been on this list since 2019 with no movement. I mean, with no movement.
But
So,
who's tracking it?
I was trying to move it forward, then the board.
right. And so I guess I want to back up for a second. I believe that this plan, this request for this master plan is like a response to, okay, we've got it on this table. We haven't seen any movement. Do we want to do one pond or do we want to look at it holistically for all of East Tampa? I hear everything you're saying about needing a little more help. Completely agree. Whether or not it's more help or whether or not it's a capital improvements department or whoever with the city with facilities takes on these projects and owns them and reports back to Mr. Nunes and CAC staff. But this has been on here since 2019. I can wholeheartedly support looking at this in a holistic way, but not if it's for a master plan that just sits on the shelf and we don't ever implement that. And that's the concern I have here when I see 2.9 million and it originally came from a 2019 list of things that we were hoping to accomplish. That's a little concerning to me. I think looking at it holistically is the way we need to go, but only if it's going to be implemented. And quite honestly, implemented in a pretty short period of time at this point.
Do you think realistically that this can be done in a short period of time with this process of procurement, finding a contractor and seeing movement with this? Because remember, I'm just going to bring it up, the Gator building, we're not going to see completion until 29.
Right, that's out of my control, of course.
Yeah, I
It takes-
understand. And that's what I'm saying. That's what everyone was talking about, staying focused on what our priorities are. This is something that was passed down. What is the reality that we will see movement beyond this?
I was trying to get the pond started, the 22nd Street pond, and we were working with stormwater and parks to get the maintenance part of it figured out. That's what was holding it back. So that's what I was told.
So to be clear, you're going to take onus of this to make sure.
On all these projects, yeah.
Here-
I'm working with the city
It's- I
department.
know
Mhm.
that's your job,
Yeah.
but you're one person. This is another, hear this, Felix, this is another thing being added, not something that we talked about, something that was given to us. Be honest. If you feel as if you're tapped out and say, I don't know how quickly this will move, but I will do my best.
That's all I ever do. I can only promise you I will do my
I
best
just
to move
wanted
it
to
as
pull
fast
that
as
out to make sure
possible.
that we were clear.
Remember, we have a project management team. It's not just me by myself. All these teams.
You do?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
So they work for all the CRA.
Oh, my
Not
point
just-
exactly. Colonel Carrington.
Okay, 1 second. So I feel like we're in a juxtaposition, right? So I'm thinking about risk versus reward, right? And I'm also thinking about public perception, which is important to heard those words tonight, versus aspirational goals. Okay. I'm reluctant to vote against anything that's going to enhance my beloved East Tampa. So I don't want to go on record saying I don't support something. I've yet to figure out or see where it's been demonstrated by Felix that volume decreases his capacity to manage. This is a slow process, right? Even before Felix. And I think he's been commended several times for his transparency and increased efficiency. But I don't know that more projects means less effective Felix. And also keep in mind now the CAC recommends, right? And the CRA approves. And there have been several times where we submitted recommendations to this CRA and they've gone a total different direction. So if they're being very heavy handed in saying that this is something that we want to see come out of East Tampa CAC, I think they're already showing you their hand of what the outcome is going to be when this goes to a decision at the CRA. So just keep all that in mind. But I'm hard pressed to vote no against any development in East Tampa, particularly Belmont Heights.
Thank you for that. It has been, the motion has been made, has been second. All in favor by saying aye.
In favor of procurement and
Procurement of this motion that is on the floor. Let's do a roll call. Thank you. The recap of the motion,
You don't have to follow the motion I wrote. It was just a guide.
$300,000 to develop for a contractor to develop a master plan for all of the ponds. Is that pretty much it in the sentence?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And I do agree with what you just said. But roll call. Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you. The second item on the agenda, the 34th Street Roundabout, Ms. Fran Tate. The Art Selection Committee. Ms. Tate has served as CAC appointed representative on the Art Selection Committee on 34th Street Roundabout for the public art. Ms. Tate will come back and report the process of how this is going. Are you still in favor to do that, to bring us back updated reports on how the process is going?
At the next meeting?
No,
How often would you want her to update?
as often as
Anything
there's
that
things
you feel
happening. You can tell them what happened up to now.
I can let you know now. And
Yes, please.
thank you all for coming into the meeting. We did make a selection and we have not contacted the person yet. The contract has been signed. The artwork has been viewed and it's going to be really nice. So I think that's all I have to report out because I'm not supposed to be blabbing out
Right, no,
anything because we have
No
not.
names.
But I want to thank you all for putting your trust in me to serve on that committee. It was a joy. We had an individual that was from Eckerd College. We had the city, of course, there. We had Mr. Hearns, who is over the curator for the Black History Museum. That was a big help because he was able to point out some things about the history of the area that I don't know about because I came here through the U.S. Army and I'm still learning, but we appreciated him so much. And it was a great joy and it's all completed. And once everything is all signed and the artist has been notified, then there'll be more about it. News media and social media and everything else. But thank you all so very much.
Thank you, Ms. Tate, for supporting us and representing us.
Ms. Tate, how many artists were there in the beginning? 193, was it?
I'm sorry.
How many artists were there in the beginning? Was it 193? I think it was.
It was pages after pages after
Yeah, They
pages.
whittled it down to
Yes.
3 and then the final one.
And want to thank Mr. Robinson so very much for all of his diligence because he put in some very, very long hours, looking at all of them and then just narrowing it down to what we as the committee said we wanted in that particular area. And my heart goes out that the other two roundabouts had not been cut to the correct measurements, and they know and understand that because of all of this down signs that are constantly going on around in their roundabouts. But I'm just happy they cut mine. Jackson Heights, not mine, but Jackson Heights in the area. I'm happy they cut that one correctly. But thank you all so very much.
Thank you, Ms. Tate.
Thank you.
The third item on our agenda tonight deals with moving the September and October dates from the first Tuesday to the second Tuesday. You sent a memo, but there's no reason for why.
Oh, I thought I'd share the reason why.
I wasn't here. I'm sorry.
No, okay. Unfortunately, it's a capacity issue. I will need the first week of September because my surgery has been pushed back to
Enough
August
said.
21st.
Enough
Okay.
said.
Okay.
Enough said. Thank you.
And then, okay.
Action is required for these meetings to be placed to the second Tuesday of the month. Is there a motion for this? For September and October.
Just
Just for
September,
those 2
October.
months. Yep. Yes. Mhm. Yeah.
No, I don't mind sharing it.
Yeah, we want to support him, and he wants to make sure that he's efficient to give us what we need. Thank you, Mr. Carlos De Leon. It's been properly motioned and second. All in favor by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That has been done. Staff reports, we only have one from our CRA manager. We have read your packet. Is there anything specifically tonight in the packet that needs to be addressed besides the sunset provision?
If you all have say, attest that you've read it, I'm not gonna bore you all with repeating it. Does anyone have questions on anything they read in the manager's report? The budget is updated finally with all the reprogramming you all approved for
You saw
FY
that in
26.
tree trimming. You saw that in the packet, Ms. Tate?
Saying that something want to address.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, this is your time. Go ahead. Yes.
The tree trimming grant. Can you expound on that? Because I have community members asking for
It'll
the
be- It's
applications.
put into the FY 27 budget. Which
Yes.
You approved. So October 1st will be FY 27.
Okay.
And the staff that worked on the grant before is already ready to push it out again as soon as October 1st.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. But what I was saying about this year's budget, the FY 26 budget, we all approved the reprogramming. It's been finally updated. I made sure it's up to date with everything that you all approved. So this is including spent funds and committed funds. It's all up to date now. So it should be an accurate assessment as of June 30th. We're always a little bit behind, unfortunately, with what our finance department gives us, but this is the most accurate snapshot we have of the budget up to date. Thank you. Any other questions about anything? Yes.
Question, I thought I saw
Historical was removed from the old budget. Was there a reason why?
No, historical wasn't removed. It was
Oh.
just we didn't fund anything in FY 27 in historical. No, the rollover is still there from the previous one. When we figure out what we're gonna do with that was for the memorial. Once we spend on that, yeah, that money's still there. There's nothing been yet.
And the cemetery is still there.
Yeah.
New business. Anything else? All right.
Okay. Thank you.
At this time, we'll have new business. Ms. Martinez would like to address us. Microphone.
Hi, this is Mimi for the record. So I wanted to circle back with our sunsetting the East Tampa CRA. We originally know that we're sunsetting in 2034. We talked about this in November of 2025. We talked about it again in January because Felix was gracious to give us a high-level review of PowerPoint presentation. I have the packet right here. At that meeting, we were not to make a motion. It was more of an information gathering stage. We did make a motion. And we voted, not all of us agreed to move forward with the sunsetting process. During that meeting, there was a lot of questions not answered. Some of the peers even said, hey, does anybody in this room have experience with the sunsetting process? And it was radio silence. Some people had concerns about the political climate. Some people had concerns once you open up that can of worms with the interlocal agreement between the county and the city, we might not get the same deal we have in place now. And I say all this to you because we all know what's going on with the other CRA, and there's talk about the county taking over a part of that CRA. And the thought is, since we're going to talk to them about one CRA, let's throw in East Tampa and extend their deadlines, and let's throw in the channel side and take 50% away from them. My concern is that as a committee, we have not taken a formal position on that, but yet our name is thrown out there all over the news media that we're going to negotiate a deal with the county to extend our sunset. We didn't talk about this here. We had a lot of questions that were not answered at that January meeting. I did request that we have an example. Felix gave us a small example of what that process would look like. A couple years. There was concerns about, that doesn't mean we're going to get the same deal with the county, right? Because if they are going to move forward with that home rule for one CRA, who's to say they're like, well, we're going to do it for these other CRAs? It's a concern. And I think that we should take a stand now. I don't want this to be a top-down approach where somebody else is negotiating to sunset us. We never formally said that we all agree. We had all of our questions answered. So it's more about the process. I don't know what we're signing up for. I don't understand what the process is. The other big piece of this was my understanding is that our current CRP had to have language in there to show that we were going to sunset. That CRP has already started the approval process. CRA board just did that in June. It's getting ready to go to the planning commission. I mean, Felix wrote it all out here. That ship has sailed. So this is moving way too fast. And I think that the elephant in the room is we need to have some uniformity here as a CAC and take a formal position as to, yes, we are in agreement that we are going to be part of the bargaining chip to create this deal while we have the county's attention. Because otherwise, if we don't stand together and say, yes, we want this, but we want some answers first so we understand what's happening, it's just going to be served to us like, here you go. And I want to be a part of the decision-making process. I want to understand what this process is. I support us sunsetting, but not if it's going to hurt us. And I'm flying in the dark right now.
You support us extending
I do support extending our current sunset deadline from
as long as it
2034.
doesn't affect us.
As long as I understand, I need to know the process. I need to understand because it's being rushed. I read it all the time. We're going to ask for extension. I'm like, but what does that mean? Like, what are you asking for? 10 years, 20 years? Like, can we know first? It's just about the process. We all agree that we want to extend because we need more work to be done. Can we just be looped in? And I have motions. My other thing is, we know what's going to happen in November. Amendment 3 is on the ballot. Our TIF is based on the property taxes. I know the county already did a financial exposure analysis to get a rough estimate of how much money they anticipate to lose if it passes. I propose that we should be proactive and also ask how much money are we going to lose in the East Tampa CRA because we're making all these plans. We need to have a contingency plan. If they're telling us we're going to be hit hard, none of this is happening. And then we're sunsetting at 2034.
Have you shared this at the larger CRA meeting? Your concerns?
No, but I did bring it to this CRA chair, and I did talk to Felix about
No,
this
the reason
before
I'm saying, I think it's noteworthy for that to be on record, for that conversation to start about who it will affect if that amendment is passed.
Yes. I want it to be respectful and bring it to the committee first so we can openly discuss it, because I've heard you say before, it is better to go in front of the CRA board and say, we already talked about this.
Yes.
So I do have some motions because I do think it is reasonable for us to have a financial exposure analysis to tell us what can we anticipate we will lose, so we kind of know where we're going. And then also, who can we get here, preferably our CRA attorney, to walk us through the whole extension process, what that looks like, and answer our questions. So I do have a couple of motions. And then my third motion would be, let's start consolidating. We want everything, but we're not going to be able to get everything in the time frame that we want. So we really have to trim the fat and really just focus on those projects that are going to sustain us. So that's where I'm at right now. I want to hear everybody else's. This is why I'm bringing it up, because I want to get everybody else's thoughts, because I do want to go to the CRA board, but I wanted to bring it to my peers first.
Any comments addressing what was just said by Ms. Martinez?
Absolutely. So, well, clearly Mimi's memory is a lot better than mine, right? I was under the impression that we were in support of extending the sunset. We just didn't know all the parameters. And then we went to Felix and asked him to give us an example. But I don't think that we understood or knew what was at stake, right? So I was operating off the premise that we're not going to sunset in 2034 because there's an asterisk next to that with a pending extension that we would submit. But I think she's probably more accurate in her recollection.
Our conversation came up before the legislative session, before this came out through committees. And now that is here and is passed through committees and, went through the state. Now we have to come up with the contingency plan to think about what could happen if this is voted in favor of.
Yeah, so I guess I'm asking, potentially the question I have is what's the negative consequence if we submit a CRA extension? And the obvious answer to me is why would we not try to continue along this pathway as long as possible until we have to get shut down versus electively shutting down in 2034. I was in the Tampa Heights Community Association meeting with maybe the supervisor of elections. I think it may have been Craig, but there's like $8 million that goes towards green space in Tampa that comes from. So if we choose to go, if what Mimi's talking about is the was it homestead exemption and how those
The increases to the homestead exemption, year one is 150, year two is 150, but that's on his testimony.
Okay.
Property taxes aren't gonna go away, you're just gonna be able to ask for a larger homestead exemption.
Yeah. So Mimi's third point then consolidation. I support that, but it's hard to understand if we don't know exactly what the sunset is. We have to kind of cross one bridge before we get to the next one. So do we continue to plan in perpetuity for these projects going on from 2034 and beyond? Or do we circle the wagons now and say, okay, the Gator building matters and 22nd and Chelsea matters. So let's just cut everything and double down on these two things and give Felix the horsepower he needs to get at least these two things done before 2034.
Yeah. Ms. Tate.
Fran Tate for the record. I'm never going to support not fighting to keep this CRA alive. So y'all can count me out. I'm never. Last meeting that I remember what you remember. We were in agreement that we want to extend out. How do you prove that? Oh, we got records to prove it. Oh, well, there was a case down in Miami-Dade. I remember all that conversation. I don't know what anybody else in here remember, but I remember what I was told in this room. It wasn't on the outside. So we were clearly in the sunshine that we had proof and there was a case that we could use. And yeah, I'm never gonna back down from not extending. I'm gonna fight. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Ms. Quarles.
Thank you, Janine Quarles for the record. I'm confused. What is the trade-off like with the voting for the extension or I'm confused about the interlocal agreement, like how that might affect the extension. Can you just clarify like
We don't know.
We don't know.
That is my point. Everybody here, I am 100% positive, agrees that we should start the extension process. That's not an issue. But do we know what that process is? No. And the reason why I bring that up is because once you open that door to do a new agreement between the city and the county, there's no guarantee we're going to have the same agreement we have now. Do we know what our agreement is now? No. So we should know what do we have now so that we can fight, like Fran said, to keep that, but to extend the sunset time. We don't know. So this is not about, we know for sure we want that, but I think now for sure we agree that we need to extend our sunset time. The issue is that we don't understand what our current interlocal agreement is. We don't understand the timeline process to get that final approval to sunset. And we have other people who are negotiating for us potentially without us having a say. And so I think it's important that we're proactive and we lay down our framework and our ask and our wants so that then we can say, yes, go ahead. We do support you negotiating for us because we've written this out in black and white. This is what we want. This is what we don't want. But do we understand what we even have right now? That's my concern.
And I hear what you're saying. You're absolutely right. I think this would be something for a special call meeting to get that information, to know what is the current agreement that was established in 2004, to know what the tax allocation is currently every year. There's an incremental increase, of course, but we don't know what that agreement is. And I doubt if any CRA has seen that.
It's a public record though, right?
I'm sure,
Yeah.
but because of these conversations, most are not thinking about this to say, oh, well, we know what the agreement is. It's 15% or not many. Yeah, the public may do that.
To
So
be honest, I can find that.
he can find, that's why
It's very
that's why I said we would need to have a special call meeting. We will not be able to address this tonight. It needs to be publicly noticed, nothing else on the agenda, allowing the community to be a part of that. I think this needs to be a broader discussion with more people in the room besides just us, where they can give that information, because it is public. That could be put in the packet. It could be publicly noticed. It can be posted so all of the community can see that, and they can be prepared to speak about that. And we can have some discussion, and then we can leave that meeting with the formalized statement of where we stand as the East Tampa CAC committee. We won't accomplish that tonight, but I'm glad that you brought that up, because it now gets the ball rolling of what we need to do. And I suggest that we have that special call meeting within 30 days.
Felix, can you get your hands on that agreement?
I just have to look for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can share it as soon as I get it. I don't have to wait for a meeting for it. I can just email
But
it.
we
to
still
you.
need to have a special meeting.
No, of course. I mean, I can email it right away so we're all aware in advance. Can I mention something real quick? I know we've all seen the same conversation, the negotiations back and forth about, oh yeah, well, East Tampa will extend if we do this. I just want to make a point. None of that has been brought up in front of the CRA board. We're all seeing this in the media, so we don't know what's really happening. So I just want to let
think
you all
you're
know.
being proactive.
Yeah, be
to say,
proactive though, and
no
bring that
matter
to the
what
board.
happens, we should know what our current agreement is.
Yeah.
We should also know if the amendment was to pass, how we will be affected. It's like 3 or 4 different things, like you stated, that we should just have some information about, just to be prepared. So we'll know after whatever happens, we'll know which. Correct.
Perfect.
Couldn't say it any better. Thank you. Correct. We all agree that it needs to be extended. We want the tools
I want
to know how this. We're clear on that. Great. Yes, Ms.
Okay, I'm holding the mic. Fran Tate for the record. I think what we have to do is just ask the CRA attorney to find that agreement and place it in the packet. Wouldn't that be simple enough?
No,
It's somewhere.
You can find that. It's public record. But I think Cliff Shepherd should be a part of that special call meeting. So we should,
Yes.
whatever that meeting
Attorney
is, to
Shepherd.
see if he should be, if he's available to be a part of that. And it is an evening meeting, so I know that's after his working hours. But since we have evening meetings, so I think that would be great. So Felix, could you research that for us to perhaps have a special call meeting specifically about this, about the interlocal agreement, sending out that information for us to read within the next 30 calendar days, not business days, but calendar days, by September 4th, if we can somehow have a meeting.
Well, you guys have to approve the change. So let me see, what was it?
CRA meeting.
Oh, CRA meeting is the second Thursday of the month, which should this
And
month.
we're not taking any, well, we're going to
August
adopt the
20th.
resolution, I guess.
Oh no.
So that I would say we will need a quorum. So it won't just be informational, right? Because you want us to, okay. Yes, because you want us to adopt a resolution, which is fine. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Quarles, you want to say something?
No,
Okay, all right, perfect. All right,
I actually do want to say something. I just want to say, as we get the information in for us to review, I'm just always conscious about how it's presented to the public, because I think it's just a lot of very content specific information. And I don't think, and I'll speak for myself, sometimes it's just difficult to be presented with information and then make an informed decision. So thinking about how that information is presented to our community and making sure it's accessible is important to me.
Thank you. We'll definitely need our neighborhood associations to push this out, that those persons are at that meeting. Last comment before we go to announcements, Ms. Headland.
On this point, it seems like the media has presented information that, there's a lot of negotiations happening maybe behind the scenes with regards to East Tampa, and East Tampa is not part of that conversation right now. And so is there agreement? Do we have to have agreement in this room that if Mimi or if our chair wants to present in 2 weeks to the CRA board and ask to at least communicate, to have communication with the community, with the CAC, with the broader public, whatever it is, but that East Tampa be part of that conversation rather than somebody negotiating something
Absolutely.
without any input. I would love to see that in 2 weeks.
I support you to do that. I don't have to be the only one speaking on behalf of us, even though based on we could both do that, even though based on the rules that we adopted under Miss Noreen Copeland Miller and former chair Connie Burton, that the committee has to give approval of who's going to speak on behalf of the committee. No one can speak unless it's the chair, unless we give prior approval. So I'm okay doing that with you if there's a consensus.
To speak on our behalf with you at the CRA meeting coming up.
Is there a second?
With you, he said.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Okay, but you know, there is a public comment now. We can speak as well.
Yes, but you cannot speak as a representative of the board. You can speak as a citizen, but yes, you can. We're coming as committee members
To give public comment.
to give public comment. That's the difference.
Do we have to make a motion that we're in agreement to have a special call workshop for this? If you want that in 30 days, I think you should formalize that.
Could you make an amendment to your motion to add the special call meeting to that as well, all in one? So he can work on that, even though we said that.
A meeting, not a workshop, right? Because she mentioned workshop.
Yeah.
It would need to be a meeting.
It would be a
meeting.
special
We
call
need to-
meeting.
Yeah, because we're going to need to vote.
You
and
want to
get a
wait
resolution.
and go before the board first? and see the-
No, we're just notifying the board that we want to be a part of knowing what's going, the conversation, what's happening behind the scene. The meeting is for us to start working on contingency plans to know what's going to happen, for us to know what's a part of the agreement currently. So whatever happens in November, we will already have the information and we will already know which direction we probably want to move. And in this meeting, start prioritizing what we want to see on the agenda to be done if our monies are decreased. And I think if there's a decrease, we won't see a decrease to FY 28 because 27,
I think it'll hit in
I need to,
2027.
and I've been out since May, so I need to do my research on that as
No,
well.
it'll hit
So-
FY 28. We've already got. FY
That's what I
27
said. It'll hit,
secured.
that's what I thought. It will hit 28, not 27, because it's already been voted on and approved.
Right. So these are the 3 points that I'd like us to speak about at our special call meeting. Is one, we need to have the interlocal agreement presented to us so we can have the ability to answer questions and understand it. Number 2, what is the financial exposure? What is what will we lose in TIF dollars if the amendment is passed? And then number 3, what is our contingency plan?
Got it. It has been motion and second. All in favor? All opposed? It was, I think, Carlos made the motion, Colonel made the second, and it was like third, fourth, and all that stuff. There was some discussion with Ms. Tate. We're clear on that, because
Cedric.
we all can speak in public comment. Just say as a citizen or a business owner of East Tampa.
East Tampa.
Yes, everybody should be doing that.
I think everyone should show up.
Yes,
The
I
more
think so too.
there's
Yep.
power
I
in
think
numbers.
Yep. So all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Thank you. In the way of announcements, we know that the next CRA board meeting is August 20th at 9:00 a.m. Tampa City Hall. Our next East Tampa meeting will be, we voted on it September the 8th, because the first,
It was a holiday anyway, isn't it?
that's the Monday. Yes.
Oh, not the Monday, yeah, the Tuesday.
Here, we have a new resignation. Miss Joanna Colbert has resigned. So that leaves us with 3 openings, 4 openings. So I would say we want residents, but we want persons who perhaps run businesses and live in East Tampa to apply as well. So you can have a good array of knowledge that comes not only as residential, but also understanding business economics as well. So we have 4 openings. That says a lot. And I think I cannot say the reason why people are resigning, but I will commend all of us. No matter what people say, there's a lot of stuff that's moving. And we're bringing some great conversation. We're bringing out some things, and we realize things don't happen in a vacuum. But at some moment, you have to stop and celebrate the small wins. We are working together. We are being cohesive. We are holding persons accountable about what they said that should be happening. And we're doing that as a committee. Now, is everything what we want to see? No, it's not. And we recognize that. We acknowledge what the community is saying, but we can only do so much as a volunteer board. What we have to do is advocate downtown, right? That is where the advocacy takes place. We talk all day here, because if it doesn't move them, what we do here is just as a recommendation, right? So let's understand where our frustrations need to be matched with. It should not be with this committee unless we're doing something inherently wrong that is destroying our community. I think we're here for the same reason. We want to see a great agenda of what's important based on priority, but we also got to show the folk downtown that there is solidarity amongst this committee, amongst this community about what we're doing. And then they have to see the community celebrating the small wins of this committee, because they're thinking, well, maybe the committee is not doing anything. And we know that is not true, right? We have to say, I can't tell people what to say, but the language has to be, our CAC in East Tampa needs the support of the CRA board to move these projects along. We already know they're obvious. We have to talk. People move through solidarity, and that's how it works in governmental systems. It does not happen in a vacuum, and it will not happen being divisive. No matter what we say, it's not going to happen. So we got to learn to work together. Yes, sir.
I have a comment in response to what you just said about our personnel turnover, right? So I think we kind of hit our stride. I think we can feel it. I like the dynamic and energy produced by the folks in this room. And every time we have a new person introduced, it can kind of throw off that energy, right? So I don't know what the process is exactly, but I just ask that. I don't know. We can't foretell the future, but we really scrutinize, as best we can before we put people on this board, because one person can kind of disrupt the momentum we're trying to achieve.
That means we all got to show up to every meeting.
And you all have to recruit who you want.
Yeah. So, yeah. And the thing, what I learned tonight as well, based on this, the quorum is not based off of the vacancies we have. The quorum is based on the full board. So everybody in this room, in order to have quorum, we all have to show up.
So do we have the authority to fill the vacancy, or do they have to go through the city?
Have to go through the city.
Even
Yeah.
if it's for one of your neighborhood groups.
Yeah.
you still have to go through the
Yeah.
city first.
Application,
Yeah.
fingerprinting, voted on. Yeah. Yeah.
I just sent them out a couple weeks ago. I think I sent out a copy of the application and the process again. Did anyone have any? Are you interested in submitting?
I've told a couple of people, so.
You always can. You really can.
I'm gonna leave that alone. Ms. Corals, you had your hand up,
Yeah,
yes.
no, I just want to say, I appreciated what you just said as well. And I think that part of us showing like visual solidarity, we also need to mobilize our broader community. I think that we each need to commit to bringing, and I'm speaking to myself, X amount of, residents, community members, folks here, because I think, not only are we a board that's making recommendations, but we're representing the neighborhood. And I think there needs to be more voices supporting and engaging in the discussion we're having. So I just want to, put out there that it's important for us to really, in addition to sitting in these seats and having discussions, mobilizing to come into this.
And for Ms. Winters to speak more. Yes. So
Well, at our last meeting, we talked about an engagement strategy at our last meeting. We have finished that. We have to pick that up again. Yeah.
one final thing before we bring the meeting to adjournment. I know I haven't been here in a few months, been out on TDY. Thank you all. I received some phone calls just to check in. So thank you for that. And thank you for Mrs. DaCosta for chairing our last meeting. Sadly, her father passed away. She's not here. Asked for us to pray for her and reach out to her and send her love and just ask how we can be there to support her. So appreciate all of you. The time is now. Is there a motion for adjournment at 7:10? It's been moved in second, third. All in favor, say aye. It has been moved by Colonel Carrington, second by Mr. DeLeosa, third by Ms. Tate, and everybody has said aye. Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned. 7:10.
She does have website.